Hey everybody. So today I'll show you how dog culture is a racketeering scheme. It's a protection racket. So what's a protection racket? It's a protection scheme where a person extorts money from a victim suggesting that she needs protection from property damage or attacks. In exchange for money, the perpetrator promises to keep the victim safe, recover stolen property, collect reparations. The person the victim needs protection from is usually the person running the scheme. If people refuse to pay up, they may experience harassment, property destruction, and other problems. A key part of these protection schemes is the rival criminals, because the people that are saying, pay me for protection, they also work with a rival gang. So if you're not going to pay up, they have connections over there with the rival gang. So they'll say, hey, go start some problems over there. Go shake them up and show them that they need protection. Have you guys ever watched one of these movies where it's like a business owner and the gang comes in and they'll say, you need to pay us because this is a rough neighborhood. And the business owner might say, hey, I got a really strong front door. I got a bouncer over here. He's tough. And I got a shotgun behind the counter. I'll take care of it. Get out of my bar. And then what happens? They will go break the arm of the bouncer. They'll break the front door. They'll steal the shotgun. And then they'll come back later and say, well, looks like you need protection. You're not allowed to protect yourself. We'll protect you. Give us that money. So this is what dog culture is all about. So as a citizen, you pay your taxes. You pull the rope, pay your rent. You don't start fires on your property. You live within your bounds. You keep up your car registration. You keep your kids under control. You keep your music down at night. All of that stuff is what you pay the government so that they can protect you from dogs. Police, animal control. They will tell you, don't go out there and do vigilante justice just because your toddler was attacked by the neighborhood dog, just because the neighborhood dogs are biting kids at the bus stop. Don't you go protecting yourself. Just keep giving us some more tax money, more property taxes, prices of food go up. You just keep paying us and we'll protect you. But what kind of job do they do at protecting people from dogs? Not a very good job. And dogs are the rival gang. Because think about it, police people, all the people in the government, they are dog nutters themselves. So all they need to do is ramp up some pit bull adoptions in the neighborhood. A few people will get attacked. All they got to do is ramp up some corgi adoptions. Those dogs will get attacked by the pit bulls, and then they can come in and say, "Oh my God, look what's going on! You're going to need more service, more EMS service. You need our protection." No, no, no! Don't go protecting yourself. No, no, no! We'll take care of these dogs for you. And so it's just an element of control and a way to take the money away from you.
Into persons and properties, settle disputes and enforce contracts in markets where the police and judicial system cannot be relied upon. Protection racketeers operate mostly in the black market, providing buyers and sellers the security they need for smooth transactions. Two elements distinguish racketeers from legal security firms. First is their willingness to deploy violent retribution that falls outside the limits the law normally extends.
So even within our laws today, we still have to have violent retribution. When the cops finally show up, they often have to use their firearms to break up these dog attacks. And on the other side of this, with dogs being the rival gang, dogs are the ones causing the problem. If you take it into your own hands, if you're tired of calling animal control because dogs are terrorizing your neighborhood, the dog owners themselves will try to violently retribute you for protecting yourself.
Tends to civilian security firms, going as far as premeditated murder. The other element is that racketeers are willing to involve themselves in illegal markets. Territorial monopolies.
Yeah, territorial monopolies. Wherever you go, there's dogs. So, again, you're going to need protection from dogs wherever you go. So, it's the same thing as a protection racket. You can't just go somewhere. You can't just say, well, I'm going to go to that dog free park and take my kids down there. No barking, no poop everywhere. Awesome. Nope. Everywhere you go, it's a freaking territorial monopoly with the dogs, the rival gang that you need protection against. Or protection from, sorry.
Protection racketeer cannot tolerate competition within his sphere of influence from another racketeer.
Yeah, that's the same thing with dogs. They don't want you to provide your own protection. That sphere of influence. It's like, no, don't provide your own protection. You just call animal control. Okay, your neighbor was killed by a pit bull. Well, that doesn't matter. Call animal control. They don't want you to provide any protection. They want to have a monopoly over the protection. And it's the same type of thing with the dog culture.
If a dispute erupted between two clients who were protected by rival racketeers, the two racketeers would have to fight each other to win the dispute for their respective clients.
Yeah, so it's kind of like when a police officer shows up and they have to take care of a pit bull or another dog. The dog is what you are needing protection against. But at the same time, the government and police are promoting dog ownership. But now the government, the police, they have to fight the dog, and it's an unpredictable outcome.
The outcomes of such fights can be unpredictable, and neither racketeer would be able to guarantee a victory for his client.
It's also the same thing when the police refuse to show up and animal control refuses to show up when dogs are terrorizing these neighborhoods. Sometimes the neighbors will get together and they will go after the neighbor that has the dog. So now the neighbors are providing their own protection. But however, it's just like in this protection racket, the outcome can be violent. You know, there's not a guaranteed victory. You may go over to the house that has all the pit bulls with you and your neighbor and say, look, the police aren't doing anything. We're going to go over here and talk to this darn guy. We're going to tell him he needs to get these pit bulls under control. And boom, now it's just like they're talking about with these rival gang type things. Now it's going to be blown out of proportion even worse.
This would make their protection unreliable and of little value. Their clients would likely dismiss them and settle the dispute by other means. Therefore, racketeers negotiate territories in which they can monopolize the use of violence in settling disputes.
Yeah, the use of violence is monopolized. Okay, so the police can use violence, sure. But you can't use violence to defend yourself. The dog owners can use violence against you. The dog owners can put you and your family in the hospital. So they have a monopoly over violence. You're supposed to sit at home with your frickin' thumb up your butt, changing your bandages, not doing anything to defend yourself. But the dog owners, they can do violence on you via their dogs. And the police and other government, they can come in and use their firearms once things get terrible. So it's a monopoly on violence.
These territories may be geographical, or they may be a certain type of business or form of transaction.
Yeah. Restaurants, motels, hotels, everywhere you go, it's dogs. It's a territorial monopoly. Parks, even the roads where you're supposed to be able to drive your car, that you pay taxes, that's your protection money. Those are more and more filled with dogs, causing road accidents.
Providing genuine protection, sometimes racketeers will warn other criminals that the client is under their protection and that they will punish anyone who harms the client.
So that's kind of like, hey, look, if your pit bull attacks somebody, we will call the cops and it will probably get euthanized. But again, in the dog culture, that's just reactive and it's not preventative.
Services that the racketeers may offer may include the recovery of stolen property or punishing vandals.
So yeah, they'll punish the dogs after the dogs have terrorized a dozen people or killed a couple toddlers or put grandma in a coma. So yeah, dog culture is a protection racket, and the police and government and the dog owners and the dogs, those are the two rival gangs. The dog owners and the dogs, those are like the bad gang. And the government, they're like the good gang. But the government promotes dog ownership. The government writes laws that help us easily put a bunch of dogs into neighborhoods. So they shove a bunch of dogs into the neighborhood, and then they say, hey, look, you need protection. No, you got a really strong front door. You got a strong father, a strong mother. No. You don't get to do violence to protect yourself. The dogs can do violence on you. We can do violence on the dogs. Just sit at home and wait for this protection racket to kick in. So there it is. Dog culture is a protection racket. Everything I've mentioned will be in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you later.